Hi everybody, it's Kathy from HuckleberryHerbs and Art, and today I'm going to talk about dealing with voles. Voles. V-O. Not moles. It's not a pretty subject. I certainly didn't want to let this time pass, because the daylilies and the zinnias, with all their pinks and yellows and oranges, they're thriving in late July in southern New Hampshire. They're so pretty. I have them placed all along this fence, and as you can see, the further down I go, the fewer the flowers. That's because it's very shady down there, and what they really like is a lot of sun. So as I come further out from under the big maple tree, they're flourishing much better than the ones that are in the shade all the time. These are about 3 years old. I planted them in a terrible place right next to the driveway. There's tons of rock and hard sandy soil here. These plants that you see are a mixture of weeds, which sometimes I just leave because I find when you disturb the earth, the voles sort of wake up to the area. But I do have a few struggling sunflowers, and normally I plant so many seeds, and these are the only ones that survived. And I baby them with fish oil and compost, tea, and I put extra compost in, but the voles just have a great time running up and down this area. But when you're dealing with something like that, I guess the best thing you can do is just plant what they don't like to eat as much as you can. So find things like these daylilies. They don't seem to like the daylilies too much. Maybe that's why they thrive along roadsides and stuff. And it's so funny because we see so many people eating the flowers, and either I have silly voles that go for weak little baby sunflowers and miss the big lilies, or they just don't like them, which is great. Because I do. I really appreciate what they do along the side of the driveway. And every year they're getting stronger. And every year I baby them. And they're just about passing. But I didn't want to miss it. They also don't seem to be too interested in black-eyed Susans. And this thriving little patch, I didn't even plant. This is a volunteer. Growing right next, again, to the driveway. In a terrible spot, but happy. And don't be fooled by these tropical pink flowers, because here's how I deal with the voles when it comes to things they do like. Containers. Lots of containers. So my cherry tomatoes are in containers. I have cucumbers and acorn squash mixed in, hidden, and safe. They don't seem to like the mint, which is actually popping out of the container here, and that's good. So what I heard is, and this was from a homesteader YouTube video, is that diatomaceous earth, red pepper for crushed powder, and garlic powder. Mix it in. Here I have spearmint, which I could plant in the ground. The ironic thing is that it probably would not be loved by them, peppermints, spearmints, but that is invasive. So, oh my goodness, Mother Nature just gives you so many challenges, doesn't it? But it's all worth it in the end. Keeping up the good fight. They don't seem to enjoy succulents very much either. And again, the whole point here is that you plant what they don't like, and it takes time to figure it out, or you can learn some tips and tricks. But they don't seem to be too taken by succulents, so I've put a lot of succulents. And I didn't rush out and buy them. I just broke up some of the succulents that I've had. These I did buy this spring. I just broke up some of the succulents I had gathered over the years, and hopefully these will take over this whole edging and help me out with putting some green up here. I know that the baby chicks, as they're called, are probably going to do pretty well here, because on this side of the staircase, this is where I got them from. And even though I took a bunch of them to spread over there, these ones are doing really well, even to the point of flowering. A lot of the wildflowers seem not bothered by them as well. Guess those are boring to them, but they're not boring to myself or the butterflies or lots of other types of pollinating species. So phlox, black-eyed Susan, and echinacea. Anti-vole paradise. Raised beds. Yep, they help. But we used chicken wire type material. You have to go smaller. If mice can fit through a dime, voles can probably come close to it. So that's about the size of a quarter, right? And I have voles coming up. They don't seem too interested in the squash type things so far, but if they get hungry, they'll probably come here. As far as orchard trees go, this is not good. Any place where they can find mulch to crawl underneath the ground, poke their head out and scrape at the bark of your baby trees. Really, I need to clean this up so they don't feel comfortable doing that. And you're supposed to have some kind of a surrounding area that's protected so that they can't chew on that, especially in the winter when they get really hungry and have run out of all the tulips. They don't like daffodils either, so I have plenty of daffodils, and these guys have just not been found, or they don't like pears and plums, or I've just been lucky so far. But in the rest of the yard back here, definitely raised beds, wiring underneath, and the chicken wire that you see is to try and keep the turkeys and the big groundhog out. Does a pretty good job. Looks like I might be picking some zucchini finally. Here's the pepper plants. A little bit of damage from some kind of nibbling bugs, but otherwise a lot of new green, and I even see a few flowers coming. The chicken wire and sticks and whatever else I can find keep pretty much the groundhog and the deer away from the cucumbers, but they gotta keep their heads tucked in, or else it's over. The garlic bed. Yep, they don't like garlic. So I'm shopping right now for the October planting of garlic. Didn't do it last year. Hopefully I'll be doing it this year. They definitely don't enjoy garlic. Got a little parsley hiding in there too. Figure the garlic smell is running throughout the bed, and they don't seem to be too into parsleys. Now, if you don't know about voles, they dig tunnels like moles, but they don't seem to leave those hills. As a matter of fact, I think they drove all my moles away. And they're a little bit more vicious, I think, on your plants. I mean, I've actually seen my carrots get sucked underneath while I was sitting there with a cup of tea by the moles. But the voles, half the time they're doing the damage, you don't even know they're there. And they create tunnels for snakes, which is okay, because snakes are good in the garden. But the worst situation I had, and these are my blueberries that we're zeroing in on, was when wasp nests were built in them. I think it sent the voles away for a while, but it also sent us away. Wasps, I hear, can be good because they are pollinators, but they kind of took over the garden, scared off the bees, or killed them. And literally use the garden as a sanctuary to do all their pollinating for surrounding area. They pollinated my garden too, but they were coming in and out of the tunnels as if at an airport. And we kind of had to abandon the garden that year. But those were definitely not honeybees. They were very aggressive and they were attacking huckleberry myself. I'm just moving the bird netting here because, yep, they don't seem to bother the blueberry bushes, the voles, but boy, the birds and everybody else love them. So I don't have that much yet. But these are only a couple years old and they're actually producing at least a couple pints for me. And so I'm looking forward to them continuing to thrive. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that little tour and discussion. Comes down to, if you really want to plant something that they like, use containers, at the least raised beds with smaller than chicken wire underneath them. Don't put out too much mulch, especially straw. I'm going to give that garlic powder, red pepper flakes or powder, and diatomaceous earth 1 to 1 to 1. I'm going to give that mixture around some plants before I put the dirt in to plant them. I'm going to give that a shot and see if it works. Plant what they don't like. Lots of daffodils, lots of daylilies, things that they aren't interested in, and try to sort of beat them around it. And then just live like they're trying to. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this helps somebody. Till next time, this is Kathy from Huckleberry Herbs and Art. God bless.